started as usual. Gotta make my announcement here. I'm slightly late, but slightly later than I said I would go on, but it's the weekend session, which is unusual and new for me, so I have some excuse for that. I gotta sneeze. Oh my god. Whew. Anyways, happy to be here. Had a good week's worth of work here, and now we're back to game dev, doing what we do best. That is getting distracted and chatting. Hey, Void. Happy weekend? I don't know. At least you're not commuting at this hour, I'm guessing. It's unusual for you, right? Live now. Twitch here. And we're going to vibe and make games as we do always. Hey, Conic. Conic says, oh my god, it's the weekend Ezra. That's right. It's even the rarer version of Ezra. Void says, not enough data. Hi, as also bye, as happy weekend. And yeah, you just came here to say, take the first redemption. All right, well, you know what? Fair enough. Okay. Lighting seems good. I guess I gotta get my music on. Let's see, what was it? Chillhop.com is what I use for my lo-fi vibe that's not gonna flag me for a copyright claim. Yep. I also did more sound adjustment for my mic because somebody was like, you don't sound as bassy as usual. I'm like, well, maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's not. So I simplified the EQ a little bit so that it's not overtly complicated. Let's see, creator catalog. Little out of it, actually. Personally, I feel a little bit distracted. But we'll see what we can do. Hey, Zuzu, long time no see on stream. Here, I don't want that too loud. And then, let's see, adjust the sound. Slightly lo-fi jazz type of sitch. Yeah, we're vibing. Let's see, where's YouTube? It's somewhere in here. I can never tell, as there's too many windows. It's one of these windows. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Zuzu says, what up, big dog? And Usama says, I hope all of you good. Oh, yes. We are all doing well, I think. We're going to continue doing what we have to do. We have two choices right now. We can continue making the hint generation logic, which we didn't finish last time. Or we could do visual update. Or we could do both. I mean, we could do the hint generation update first, and if we have extra time, we'll do the visual updates. I actually thought it would be cool if there are type of enemies that only move when you move, and then like it tells you where it's going to move to next. Oh, and then we said we're going to lock down the generation so that the map is generated the same way all the time. So you get to remember, if you remember what certain nodes look like, you can go back to it over and over again, you know? It's like there's like a sense of learning the world, and then you can strategize around that. Someone says, did you add anything while we were offline? No, I didn't get to work on it at all. We are just exactly where we last left off. I think, you know what? Before I do the generation, I think I kind of want to do the generation locking thing. Which is, so for example, right now, enter explore mode right now. When we do this, we generate the explorer level, which is tricky. Now what we're going to do now instead is probably keep, the only problem is that there's some of the generation logic where I am like putting into the generation config the items or the NPCs that weren't claimed before. So I need to make sure the shape of everything stays the same. So when we're generating the explorer level, somehow we need to keep track with the node structure. Save the node structure for that specific. I gotta come up with new words because like saying everything as a node is a little confusing because there's an overworld node and then there's explore node and then there's a node for Godot, which is like two different things. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out slowly but surely. I'm just trying to get my brain to rev up a little bit. It's a bit slow right now, I have to say. It's the weekend brain. But and I didn't do proper, like, what do you call, proper preparation. Also, my brain is fried because I've been, okay, so this is kind of strange for me. I'm not good at chess, but I started playing chess as like a hobby. I'm learning and it's been fun. So I'm like, anytime I'm not doing anything, I'm just on my phone playing chess. But yeah. Anyways, oh my gosh, what am I even thinking about? I forgot to do this. I gotta make a pinned comment for wishlist so that people can figure it out. Wishlist for wishlist now. Boop. And then I'll pin this. Manually do. Wishlist now. Boop. Kodik says, oh my god, roguelike chess when? I don't even know how you would make it actually still feel true to the feeling of chess while being roguelike. Well, one thing that I think could be fun is you're playing chess every time. But then like making AI for chess will be so difficult to make it balanced. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Link says, hi, how's your weekend going? Weekend is just starting for me. It's just starting. I'm trying to get some basic programming and game development running, getting the stream running. This was my first time back in workforce, first week of work since 3 years ago. Transitioning from full-time content making to full-time job and content making is something that I'm trying to figure out for sure. Kodik says, there are dedicated algorithm only for chess engines, I see. I mean, it makes sense, but also I feel like it could, like customizing that is so tricky too, depending on how like you customize the game. Baka Design, hi, sup? All right, everyone, I have a favor to ask. I know you guys always say it's fine, but I need you to actually be honest here. How's my voice right now in terms of sound quality? I'm not asking if my voice is annoying to you. Like, I'm not talking about the quality of my natural voice. I'm saying like in terms of mic quality, the way the equalization sounds compared to everything. Does it feel balanced, natural, professional, etc., etc.? Because, you know, I'm always obsessed with that. All right. Link says, it's good. You have nothing to fear. Thank you. That's good. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I need to update it so that I have a hardware instead of using software EQ. And then maybe you get the SM Shure. What is it? The one that everybody uses? Conic says, I can't tell exactly what, but it feels a little parasited. I think I know what you're talking about. Let me turn off the little there's a little booster feature. All right, let me turn that off. Compression, I think compression is okay. I turned off the noise reduction amount a little bit. Maybe I can compress a little bit harder. So it's around -4 and 6. And go even lower. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, that's like -8. That's a little too much. But when I'm talking normally, I think I wanted to sit a little bit over here. Baka says, yeah, maybe some fry or raspy a tiny bit. Okay. All right. I mean, I did that because I wanted to add clarity, but maybe clarity is not necessary. I was also testing the sound with my earbud, so it doesn't have a full range. How does it sound now? Is it a little better? Recipe part might just be my voice. Potentially. I mean, this is good. This is good. I do need to take this time. And you know what? If you're just visiting me right now for the first time and you're like, why is this guy talking about sound instead of game development? I'm sorry. We're going to get to that. Sound modification is always a little tricky. It's either this. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna flip between this. Oh, hello. This is one option. This is like a way overcomplicated version of the sound that I did. And then this, which is a simplified version of the sound. Can you tell the difference? Is there a difference in the sound? What do you think? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just paranoid. All right, I'm going to try to lock in the generation here. I almost feel like I need to make a new data set to represent each level. It's almost like loading an already generated level now. So before I had it so that there's a data model, and using the data model, the generation happened. Now I got to make it so that it's just kind of straight up already generated stuff gets saved. Now, simplest might be just like getting a snapshot of the scene tree and then just like pasting it back on. Hey XFC, hello, hello. Well, thanks for coming back. So there, I have a two approach to do it. Nodes get generated, scene tree gets made, all the entities already created. Hey, thanks for the follow, XFC. I didn't know you didn't follow me already, but I guess second time is a charm. So already generated stuff. Save the generated stuff, and then say, if I see a saved generated things, use that. Or I could have a source of truth in a model version, like a non-tree related, so that it's more of a data as opposed to a whole node. And then use that as a source of truth to create the scene. So it's like obfuscating the the representation of the map. The downside of that is the translation and then like conversion would be more complicated. So I'm tempted to just do the nodes. So I'm going to try to do that. So we explore and generate the level. So basically we want to have, I think the explore node maybe will, I kind of want to, maybe there should be a global one because that's like something that I would save, right? I would save as a save file if players have save. So I almost feel like I want to save it. And so let's make that a global node. And I don't know if I can save tree structures, like what that would look like in Godot. I mean, if I have to serialize manually before doing that, then I'll just do that, you know, honestly. So over here, I'm going to make another global command. I'll make a regular node here. So we'll make a node, and this one should contain, it's going to be a data holder. It'll be explore, map, saver, save and loader, handler, explore map. What are systems that save and load? IO? No. I'm going to call it a saver for now. If you can see my body shaking a lot, it's because I'm shaking my leg and it's giving me focus that I need. But technically, I guess that's something like, I don't know. I shouldn't do. Explore map save manager? That could be good. That's along with the name. Well, trees. It could be trees. Oh, wait. XFC says, when will you do the procedural generation of the terrain, like the mountains and trees? I think that's one of the last visual update that I'll be doing. Just because I want to be properly prepared. Because there will be I'll be doing that as part of one of my tutorial videos on YouTube, because I'm imagining that I'm going to use wave function collapse to do it, and that's like a very common popular method that everybody wants to know, or not everybody, but a lot of people wants to know. So it's coming soon, though. I mean, definitely before releasing demo, which I think oh jeez, I just closed everything, all the windows. Definitely before, in a month. I mean, I definitely want to do it within a month. So okay, so we'll have a function that says a save. I mean, it just saves a map, saves the given explore map node, or yeah, map connections and status. Func load would be loading it, and then probably we'll have the content and ID. It'll be ID'd by explore, or not explore node, but the POI node, which will be map node. And that, excuse me, you know, POI node, the param POI node is going to be basically the save is keyed by the current overworld node, and then the content of connections and status of the tree. What is that? I think that might just be, what do we need to say? Fog of War? Even the Fog of War is saved? I think that's probably true. We might have to go fog. Oh, do I represent all of that into as like a separate entity? I think not. I think I'll go. Ooh. What if? You know what? I mean, this almost seems like it's like a static method. That's why I'm a little bit confused. Though, unless the fog is not going to be texture, it will be. Okay. And then I'll have to do a lot of logic, but this is a thing that I need to do anyways. XFC says, the voices, they say things. Yoey, yoey, yoey. Oh my goodness. Not with you with yoey again. Yalvarian says, it's been a long time. How's things going? Things are going well. We're making good progress. We have a wish list now. If you look at the pinned comment, I would appreciate a wish list. I'm hoping to launch a playable demo for both testing and attention grabbing within next month. Originally, I wanted to do that along with Next Fest release for June, but I got scared out of it because people are like, oh, it's a multiplier, so you actually want to do Next Fest once you have pretty good amount of wish lists already. So I'm trying to do my marketing push, the video creation, the devlog posts, and everything after visual update and demo release first. And then once I have pretty good amount of wish list, I will aim for doing Next Fest for October. That's a goal. Bo Racing O says, hi Ezra, is it Bo Racing Oz? Yeah, it's Bo Racing Oz, I think. Maybe not. Darth Blachman. Is it Blachman or Blashman? Anyways, says, greetings. Greetings, Darth Blashman. XFC says, I don't have a Steam account. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay. It's the thought that counts. Usama says, for me, it's excellent. Your voice is crystal clear. That's good. Conic says, I think the bass is different. Yes, bass is different in these two modes that I'm using. So I was saying, hey, do you like this sound? Oh, I actually need to get this out. Oh, Okay, that's not what I was trying to do. Save this. I'm gonna get this down so that I'm not sizzling. And then I'm gonna get rid of the bass oh jeez. I'm sorry. Get rid of the bass enhancement at all. So this is like the simplified version of the sound, which I saved. And then this is like a little bit more overcomplicated sound where I was like doing a lot of experiment with. So we got this versus this. Test 1, 2, 3. Hello everyone. Does it sound professional and clear and not annoying and not tiring? Versus hello everyone. This is a simplified version. How does this sound? Type of thing. So 1 and 2. Yelp says, I wish you luck. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Conic says, are you going to add Steam achievements? Yeah, that's the goal. At least by the time we get to the Next Fest, Steam achievement needs to be done. There's 2 things I need to do that is Steam specific, which is the controller and like the controller API that Steam has, and then the achievement. And I have absolutely no idea how or what that's going to look like because I've never touched it or looked into it, so we'll see. Conic says, I prefer simplified. That's good. Darth Splashman says, perfect pronunciation, actually. Okay. Well, I mean, I said 2 different things, so I don't know. I don't know if it was like more like Germanic sound of like Darth Blechman, or if it was Blechman like how American people would say it. Baka Design says, complicated sound, weird, and muted to me. Okay, good. So we're going to stick with this one. And you like it without the clarity boosted, I'm guessing? Either way. All right, sounds good. We'll stick with the simplified and clear voice. We said we're going to save the fog. We're going to save the map. I don't know what we're going to do with the connections. We might have to reset the connections. So we'll say node or explore nodes, which will be array of map nodes. Then we're going to have connections information, which will be connection handler, an instance of it. Darth Fleshman says, Heart C, first time was great. Most streamers say Bleach. Oh, Blechman. Okay. Blechman. I don't know if I said Blechman or Blechman. Anyways. XFC says, you have to beat Yoey full voice. I don't know what that means. You know what? We'll never figure out, Blechman, if what we're saying. Because, like, we're a little bit off sync. So I'm like, oh, is this or that? And you go, it's that one. I'm like, oh, too late. I saw this so late. So it'll not work. Well, the problem here is that if I load, what am I going to return? Like that, right? So I think the load logic, so there's 2 ways to do it. The proper engineering way to do it is output a model that the caller can use versus the, explore mode itself can be passed and then the load logic manipulates what's inside of this data, which is not ideal, right? But then at the same time, these are my codes and this will never like be detached from each other. So like, what's the big deal anyways, right? So I think I'm going to actually just say, hey, give me the explore mode itself, and then we'll save and unsave, which makes it simpler, actually. Which means we can actually, instead of passing all these parameters one at a time, we can just like take the whole thing. XFC says, Ezra, you have Ez in your name. You're so toxic. Oh, easy. Yeah, I go, easy. That was easy. GG easy. All right. Has save will be, I guess, the check it'll do, which would take in the overworld node. And it'll be true or false. And basically, when we're generating the level, we're going to do the check here, which will take the explore map saver if has save is true for explore source, then I guess over here load. So it'll be more like explore map saver, load, self pass by here. Otherwise, we're going to do all these other things, which we'll figure it out eventually and, you know, make it all pretty. Let's see, where would I save? The saving would happen at the end of the Explore for now. And then later when it'll probably save continuously because what? Player might exit the game at any time and you wanted to handle all that. I wonder why it's not working or why it's yelling at me. Says this identifier explore map save not declared. Oh, right. Wait, why is it not declared? Saver right here. Oh, called as save instead of saver. And then we're gonna exit here, play at when we're exiting, which is on exit. Well, we're emitting it here, explore exit. When we're doing explore exit, is this the only place we are doing it? I think so. So we'll handle this. We can say exit exploration right here, and that could be this, so that we can have a function separately. Oops. Is the music too loud? I feel like it's a little loud on my ear. So sensitive to sound. Us. Us, me, you. I'll increase it for you guys. But I don't like it too loud. I like to keep my hearing to a certain level. XFC says a dot appeared in my leg. Godot, go. It's actually pronounced Godot, even though it's spelled like Godot. Godot. But I get the joke, okay? I get the joke. XFC just wants to have a good time. Just wants to have a laugh. All right. We're gonna probably save before exiting here, which will be explore map saver and save. Okay, so all the necessary features are in place. I just need to implement this now. Tricky. This will be tricky, but we'll figure it out. I think essentially we need a mapping of like explore nodes, which will be dictionary of I don't know. This could be bad, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I have a bad feeling about some of these approaches that I'm about to take, but connections. We'll see how many memory it takes, like how much memory it demands. Like the physical memory. Then we can actually have a requirement of like, oh yeah, minimum requirement for this game is 256 megabyte. I wonder how much it's using at this point. I wonder if the game tells me if I do monitor. Oh, it does say, at least like you can see the memory usage over here. What's the, is that millibyte? Let's see. 1 MIB 2 bytes. Mebibytes. What? That seems ridiculously big. That can't be true. MIbyte is mebibyte? That makes no sense to me. I think that's milli. Because otherwise it would be considered megabyte, right? Whatever. I'm sure there's some ways to figure it out later. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just getting distracted at this point. All right. So So we're saving the connections, we're saving the nodes. We're also saving the fog of war. Texture. Fog of war gets saved as well. Texture 2D. What else? Some status, some game status probably gets saved, but that's not, I'm not going to worry about that too much. Conic says I prefer, or K is 10x the byte. M is 10x the K. I know that, but this is MI. I'm not familiar with the MI versus M, unless that's just how things are represented these days. I don't know. Nested type collections aren't supported. Yeah, of course it isn't. If I wanted to be generic typing supported here, I might be... This might not look good. I wish it would support like nested typing. Sometimes you kind of need it. XFC says, I love when Ezra go through the chatter. Baka says, mebibyte equals 1020x 1020 octs. I don't know, dude. There's too many numbers right now. I have no idea if it's actually mebibyte. I don't know if MIB means mebibyte or not. We haven't figured out what this means yet. I mean, it must be, though. Because this is 0 byte right here. XFC is just memeing over here. It says it's a meme byte. It's not even spelled right. Anyways. So we'll have that. Simple enough. I think what saving right now, all we have to do is basically var nodes will equal to array. We're going to get explore nodes, get source node will be explore mode source node. And then it'll be used as a source here. Hopefully it uses instance ID automatically, so if there's a duplicate versions of it, it knows how to detect that. Either that or the empty arrays. So we'll just do that. Connection will be that. Memory efficiency out the window completely. I am not interested in it being efficient here, guys. Or I am interested in being memory efficient, but I meant like I'm not interested in trying to make the code more efficient than necessary. If it doesn't exist, this one is going to be null here. But I think we don't really need to check everything. We can just go, all right, well, nodes will actually equal to the Explorer modes. POI container. Does it have Explorer nodes in there? Oh, it does have it as a property. As a property of map nodes. And then connection will equal to this. I guess I don't even need to get it. The getter is on the load, I guess. We gotta do that over here. So we can just go like that. Typing be damned. There's no typing. Where we will explore, there are no typings. We're going into the unknown. Into the unknown. We're definitely going all over the place here. Fog is texture rect. Okay. That texture. Hey, thanks for the follow, Ecclesies. Hello, good luck with game. Good stream. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good words. Hey. Bonan Krautsoft says megabyte, big MB, is decimal base unit, which is 1 million bytes, versus mebibyte, which is MI, yeah, is binary base unit. So it's like in the multiples of binary. I guess that. And it's 1,048,576 bytes. It's like when you buy a hard drive with 100 gig, it's not actually. Yeah, I get it. It will show less in your file explorer. Yes. I thought it would be that, but I actually never heard it as mebibyte. Because I think back in the day, or like at least I understand it when we're like not defining scientifically, like we understood when people said megabyte in a computer term that they mean the binary based megabyte. Because, you know what I mean? I feel like that was like the big assumption. Conic says there were megabytes in my era. Yeah, that's what I mean. There were era where they were just like understood to be this like binary version of it. I guess people decided to separate that. That's pretty cool. So we'll read it as mebibyte. So mebibyte will be thousands of kilobytes. Yes. Kilo in that this is the kilo of binary, so it's like 1024 or something like that, right? And thousands of those are gigabyte. Wow, I'm surprised that I'm using 75 megabyte at all. That's or mebibyte. So we're maxing out at 75 here. I mean, I would think that 75 is pretty heavy. Well, given there's not much going on in the game, so I'm kind of surprised, but whatever, it's okay. It's not that heavy. Let's see. I'm gonna look at system requirement for some of the chiller games. Let's see. FTL. I wonder what they say. Rave Yeller says, hi, what kind of game are you making? I'm making a roguelike adventure strategy game where it is a journey distilled, journey concised, which is basically adventure is described as you exploring a graph of nodes where each nodes have different stories, exploration, events. And then the events are like, you know, regular roguelike dialogue stuff, but also there are exploration, a further exploration of doing a further graph search. And the main gameplay is doing a resource management because it uses provision and your health in order to explore the world. And it's the game of exploring different corners of the world, finding out the mysteries and getting to your goal while surviving, using optimizing your builds around it. If you're new here, wishlist is up on the pinned comment, so it would be helpful. If you are thinking that the graphic is something that you don't wishlist for, it's okay. Updates are coming. This is like just kind of how the game is right now. I'm just trying to collect all the wish lists right now. So yeah, that's it. Right now I'm trying to change some game features, but I got distracted because I was curious what the minimum requirement is. 1 gig of RAM minimum FTL. That's probably not measured out. That's just like assumption probably. I'll be surprised if it actually uses about 1 gig. But I guess, yeah. Ecclesi says, or Ecclesi says, nice game. Thank you. Appreciate that. XFC says, show the link to him. Show link to my game? I just did. It's on the pinned comment, guys. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Overall, oh, shoot. Regional exploration, overworld exploration, where there are different types of nodes. Each node you can explore this way. And then, find NPCs. There are shops like this. You can have upgrades, fog of war, and different enemies, etc., etc. All right. Back to the task. So on save, we're simply grabbing these things, and then we're gonna just kind of put it in here. We'll go boop. Explore mode. Oh, I guess I should do source node as a key here. And we're gonna say source node. We'll grab nodes here. I hope this doesn't result in orphaned nodes. I can see where it might result in that, but we'll see. I have a feeling it'll be okay. Okay, for loading, what we're going to do here is that we're going to load the Explorer modes. So we're going to get these items. Then we're going to grab the Explore mode. And then we're going to assign these. Now, assigning these doesn't mean it's going to work automatically. We need to do some sort of loading. So we'll have to figure that out over here. But, you know, I'm not too worried about that, I think it should be pretty simple to figure out. There you go. And that will have everything that we need. Has save will be based on has overall node here. Boop. Okay. So this logic is simplified. I just need to change the load function. I'll do that eventually. It says the value of texture 2D cannot be assigned to variable of array. Oh, right. There you go. That should be good. Okay. So what do we do with the loading? Once we assign the thing, we're going to do the whole loading logic. Hey, thanks for the follow, by the way. Bone and Krautsoft. I didn't see that earlier. My bad. Bone and Kraut says, that's the whole Godot engine in memory, though, right? Not just the pieces you built around. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of, like, the pieces that Godot does, which actually, as far as game engine is concerned, even with the bloat of the engine that I'm only hitting 75 is pretty impressive, I think. So I'm not too worried about it. But I do wonder how much of my portion is occupying this. I'm going to try to make it so that it's less than 258 megabyte, if I can help it. It just sounds like a nice number. XFC says, my girlfriend name is Mebby. Ah, Mebby bite me. Mebby bite me. Jeez. XFC just knows how to do dad jokes out here. Ecclesi says, a simple game. Yo, not bad. Yeah, thanks. It is a simple game. Actually, inspiration came from, because we originally made this game as like extension of my other big game that I'm working on, that I feel more what do you call it? Attached to. Ecclesi said, it looks hard. Right now, the game is a bit hard. But I'm trying to make it so that it's fun hard, not hard. Because FTL is hard. Into the Breach is hard. And that's kind of like the model that I'm going after. But the game itself, so I made so the game jam version of the game is in itch.io. And it's so much simpler. It's just get from point A to B while managing resources. And when you get to a node, it just gives you stuff. Or it takes stuff away. And I got a pretty good feedback being like, people are like, oh, this is fun. I could see myself playing this like 4 hours after, you know, certain parts gets changed or like improves. And so I've been working on like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do my practice for releasing a game and figuring out all of the components that will make it successful with this game that I feel less committed to, which I mean, ironically, now I feel super committed to. And yeah, we've been working on it for like past 2 months now. Which I think is a good timeline, but granted, I've been kind of overlooking a lot of the graphical update and sound stuff, so that polish might take a while. All right, on the Explorer mode, when we're loading, we just straight up return. We got to be careful with what we do here. So let me just make sure that all the components that is being used here get set up as well. I know there are things like the environment, which doesn't need to be configured. Ah, man, splitting this out is going to be such a pain. All right, when we're generating the Explorer level, we load and put in all the components, which means we're assuming that this is already done. I almost... yeah. Assign it. We're assigning the node itself, so we're not doing any of these things. I guess the cleanup needs to come still. We gotta do the cleanup. Yeah, we do. A child, container, remove child. Yeah. So whatever it is, we will clean up. So cleanup needs to happen. I expect there to be a lot of bug in implementing this part of the game right now. So we'll see. So explore source will be the source that's been provided to us. Environment will be empty. We're going to clean it up. Connections are new instance of the connection over here. We're replacing it anyways when we're loading, so we don't have to worry about that. We're getting the generation config, which assignment is still required in case we need to grab some information from the config itself. The environments are static effects. We don't have to copy the environment, I don't think. The status or state of the environment, yeah, it runs on generate on arrival, and then disappearance one. Yeah, we're making sure that these are stateless. Yeah, stateless, because this one is on generate, which already generated. So we can skip the generation part of the logic, but we just assign it. Cool. So we need to empty it out like that. XFC. Do you know what that does? It adds new berries to the pool. The rare ones only come from the large or medium-sized ones. So the rare ones are the hollow berries and the squat berries. So sorry if that's what you're going for. Right now we got so many wizard berries. Squat berries, there's only 2, and hollow berries, there's only 2. These rare ones are actually pretty rare. I haven't seen many people with it. Ecclesi says, nah, I'm in general don't understand in code development, but you know how to do it. Oh, so sorry, my bad. English is bad. No, it's okay. I understood it. Ecclesi says, real cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, plant your little berry folk. If you redeem a Twitch redemption, the channel point, which is free, you just need to watch me, called Plant Berry Folk Seed. You get a little plant that you can water. And once you water them, you have a chance of getting one random berry. And you can get multiple berries, and you can switch between them. You can kick other berries. Yeah. A little fun interaction. We got to make a little mini game eventually. That'll come. All right, so we're loading here. Load level if exist, if already generated. Connection, explore level. And we'll see how this gameplay plays out. I do think that some of the berries and some of the resources need to be regenerated, but I'm not too worried about it. I do think that there needs to be some initialization, but we'll figure that out as well. Let's see, explore level mode. To a point where I feel like the map node maybe should have an abstract function called onload. So for example, I could have onload, which doesn't do anything right now, which child functions can what do you call? So that will make it a little bit easier if I can do that. So for example, if I go journey mode, or not journey mode, explore mode on the map saver, for all the nodes, I could just go, hey, for node in nodes, just go and do on load like that. And of course, it's going to require some extra data in there, but you know, that's the idea. So that I can, it ignores it if the node doesn't require any load action, but or on in it or load, I guess. Depends. So we'll see. On init. Maybe loading for like game save is different from loading for init, I guess. We already have on init. On init. We have on generate, don't we? No, we do. I guess I will call this on re-init, I suppose. I don't know. The naming is like, we're starting to overload some of the names, so we'll figure it out. It's okay though. All right. So we are exploring, we're loading. We're over here. We're just kind of parsing out. This is the boring part of game development, which is parsing out some of the old features so that when I add the new features, it doesn't immediately break everything. All right, we got the cleanup. We're loading it. We're doing a bunch of actions here. Graph generator. So this one is generating the graph. So I think this whole thing is generate graph configuration based on config, which is right here. And then we get a bunch of cluster information, pre-processing. Let's see if there's anything that I require here. Start POI. Yeah, this is where the starting node is being determined. Make sure if anything that I touch globally is in here, I need to make sure these things happen. Connections get cluster info connections. This is pre-populating the model. So we're still messing with the model. This is all very first time thing. That's good. That's good. We're going to through the first time experience. And then hey Godot. Hello. Good to see you. XFC with Yoey, man. Your obsession with Yoey is kind of funny to me. I don't know what that's all about. I think you find that inherently funny. Which is okay, you know? I'm not going to punish you for it. But it does puzzle me a little bit. Okay, so we pre-processed it, meaning we're manipulating some of the model information. So we got the POI cluster from the generation. From the model, we're creating a cluster. And from the cluster, we are pre-processing and rearranging the cluster information. And then when we're loading the level, this is where we're actually generating the map nodes, these exploration nodes, for this particular thing. And during this time is when the connections are happening. Connections to the what do you call on event, which I think I don't have to redo because I'm not disconnecting them as I save them. I don't know if that's going to have a performance issue or not. Let me just make sure the cleanup. One risk is that the cleanup is going to actually free these things. Yes, okay. So cleanup is okay. So cleanup is freeing already existing nodes as opposed to letting me save them. So we probably want to remove it, but not queue free it, which means it's going to think that we have a bunch of orphan nodes. But in fact, it's not orphan nodes. They are just saved as a data that we can pull through later. So we're going to have to... The line, I think we could get rid of. Because I could regenerate the lines. I think. Based on the connection. I think I'm going to try to regenerate things that can be regenerated. So I'm going to delete that. Let's see. Bonan says, the on function are for signals in Godot. It can be. I mean, it's a common language pattern for indicating that it's going to be executed. It's like a contract to myself. It's a reminder for myself to say, when this happens, this function gets called. But the connection of like the signal, So for example, right here, I have the signal. I like to say signal. I like to make it so that the signal names are more like it already happened. So this one says signal is, oh, explore exit happened. So I signal out saying, hey, explore exit happened. If you're making a connection to this signal, meaning you're listening to this event and you're responding to it with a function, then I would create a function called on explore exit and connect it to it. You know, it's just kind of a little habit I made for myself. I think it's okay. Godot says, doing CI/CD for my project. How's the game going? Oh, continuous deployment is fun. I mean, that's great. I don't know how I'm going to do continuous deployment for Steam because I never released it before. Also, what tool am I going to use? Is that the part where I'm going to have to download MCP and make my own skill for it? Okay. So I'm kind of an AI hater in that, like, I like programming by hand and AI as a research tool. But thing is, like, now that I've started work, it's like pretty much ingrained in the normal process of everything. So I finally got to use like MCP and like, you know, the CLI tools for the first time. And I'm like, okay, well, I see how this can enable like the senior people much better. Not because it does coding well. Like I wouldn't, like the benefit I see isn't the coding itself, I feel. Like collecting knowledge and data that is particular to the setup that I have. Like for example, if I make this game and I make an MCP skill just for Through the Shatter, like there are a lot of burden of remembering where everything is that even I, as someone who made it, have a hard time remembering. It just makes things a little easier, I think. But you know, Godot says, oh, AI is good for Docker files. I hate making Docker files. Yeah, true. XFC says, did you know that if what? Are you about to do some jokes on me? Stop it. Anyways. All right, I got distracted here. Sorry. So we're generating the level. We made connections. We're loading the level, which is where the generation is happening. I'm not going to queue free the map nodes. I'm just removing the child. The lines still need to be generated. So we need to have a to-do where this thing, I think the thing that we do in load happens. So I'll say when we're loading over here, we need a to-do make lines or line instances with connection to with signal connection to connection handler, and this is an example. That's a to-do. I gotta make sure I do that. Durswo07 says, congrats on your job. Where are you working, if you don't mind me asking? I tried to keep it separate. The hint is that it's a place that I worked at before, and I've only worked at like, I mean, one that matters that I've been advertising to people before because through my video is that I worked at Amazon for like 6-7 years, and I worked at Google for like 3 years, and then I've been doing content development full time. So, so basically one of those places. And I don't want to be so specific, but people who know knows. Like some of the viewers that work at the company found me through the internal tooling and already messaged me saying hi. Usama says, did I miss something? No, you didn't miss anything. We're just chilling. Let's see. XFC says, what the heck? You got a new job, Ezra? Oh, I'm dumb. Sorry. I read that Ezra got a new job. Well, I mean, it is a new job. Like, I've been doing content making and game development full time for the past 3 years since I quit, or I got laid off from Google during the big tech layoff. It was a great opportunity because I got a good severance at the time. So, you know, I'm finally back. It's been fun. It's been new. It's funny because like the last time I worked at big corporate was like right before the advent of AI. So it's pretty interesting to see different type of people. So some of the older folks, some of the more senior people that is like my generation of people, you know, they have certain opinions, obviously, and then they are like cautious, but then optimistic, all that stuff. But then all the new kids that are in there, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, like the mindset is completely different. I'm not gonna like say like it's bad or good. I think it's just different. It's definitely different. The mindset is different. But then there's this like, what surprises me, and many of you guys might relate to this. When I was younger as well, like because we know how to do things and we can make things happen and we know what we know, we feel there's like a sense of like confidence and assurance that feels unwarranted, that comes from certain people or certain language. Where I'm like, I get it, but like I wouldn't be like that strong in my language when I say those things. So but I'm not gonna say much anyways. I'm not trying to badmouth anyone. It's just I'm just noticing a difference in culture. Also, I don't want to like, they know I stream, so they might be on the, if my coworkers are on stream, hello. I'm not saying anything crazy. Anyways, I don't think they are, but because I didn't tell them that what my channel is, but it's kind of easy to find my channel. Derzua says, did you have to do some leak code for the interview? Yeah, of course. That's still basic. Like doing leak code and knowing algorithm and data structure is like the absolute minimum. That's like to get your foot in the door. So you get your foot in the door with a resume, right? Resume needs to show good projects, good proof of you having experienced working with groups and fairly large scale things. It doesn't have to be huge, right? And then once you get that reviewed, you got to get to the next door, which is proving that you knew basic programming. And that's data structure and algorithm, which is leak code. And not only, so I hate leak code as I don't like it as a assessment of people because it doesn't really do the job of seeing if this person will be a good worker or not well. Like it only tells you that you're a good problem solver when it comes to this type of programming. But like in reality, that's not something that is required. It's just meant for assessing like, are you willing to do the work to understand these things and pass the test? And two, do you know all the fundamental reasoning behind, you know, data structure and algorithm? But the real big part after you get that screening done is like culture fit, work ethics. And that's, you know, that's neither good or bad. It's just literally a vibe. And there are guidance in certain companies, right? They have things like leadership principle that, you know, people test for. At the end of the day, that's just vibe. You just need to, there's a way to, everybody does this. And there's way to explain your experience in ways that fit these guidances. And so it's like, to me, it feels like it's testing your willingness to be part of a corporate culture more than your ability. Because your willingness to do that work, whether it is lie or whatever, is a quality for you being a subservient good worker. So don't feel ashamed or proud, is how I say, for being part of good or bad company. Thanks for the follow. Back to reality. Hey, speaking of back to reality. Godot says, I kind of like that we can't use AI at work still. Keeps my brain sharp. I recently did a couple leak code problems outside of a job search context, and it was actually pretty fun when nothing is on the line. Yeah, I mean, some of the problems are interesting. The one thing that I always get tripped up with is the one that doesn't actually require any of the data structure. It's called like, the category is, I think category is like optimization. It's always like the think outside of the box thing where you have to think like, oh, it's actually a math problem. Like the debugging or coming up with the algorithm is go write down all the potential answers manually for some of the examples. And do you see analogy do you see like connections in these numbers? Like a lot of the hard questions are not program questions. A lot of the hard questions in LeetCode is like, and they will never use these in actual company interviews, but it's just fun. The hard questions in LeetCode, I feel like, is the ones that's like, answer is like, oh, actually, forget all the problems. The answer is if n equals 1, it's like the answer equals 2 times n plus 1/3 plus, k or something like that. And then you figured it out by working backwards from the answers you analyze. And then you test it on a few cases and you run it and you learn that it's correct. That one is kind of fun. Unrelated to programming, though. Let's see. Dorzwa says, 100% agree with you. That's good. XFC says, I really don't understand the 6-7 meme. Yeah, I don't know. It's just people be doing people. Conic says, sounds like calculus. Yeah, it's definitely calculus. It's just, what do you call that? Interpolating answers. Discrete math, right? That's discrete math, I think. Or no, that's not discrete math. There's a name for it. There's a course for it. I had to take it because I was physics major. The Emperor says, what is your advice for someone who wants to make a game in Godot but has zero background in coding? How would you start off? Okay, well, so I have a shill answer and then I have a real answer. So I'll give you a real answer first so that you don't just immediately leave me. The real answer is, I always believe in this. When you're learning new information, you want to get yourself in a question where you ask the question first, and then you're in the position of searching the answer. It's like when you're making tutorials, you don't want to info dump all at once to the player because most of that information will not stick. And the good tutorial makes it so that the tutorial messaging happens when the user wants to do that thing. So it's like, if you don't want to fall, jump. And now I'm like, okay, I know when to jump. I know how to jump. And then now I can think about and focus on being creative with jumping or whatever. So same thing with the learning new information. So the thing that I like to do is go to Godot engine documentation. Now, I know you said you have absolutely no coding experience. That's okay. Even without coding experience, you can learn by copying and pasting sometimes. So if you go to the documentation, there's a thing called Getting Started, and you can look at your first 2D games. Don't even read anything else because it's a lot of information. And this one is just a kind of guide of like basic English language and showing you where to click, and then you get to follow along. How is this helpful? Well, I think this gives you the behind the scene of how the Godot engine designers or people who made Godot meant to use the engine. Some of the concepts, some of the basic building blocks, and logical processes that you would normally take. You can learn from this, but do it critically, being like, okay, wow, this is cool. Later, think about it like it. Later, I might want to do this differently. Or, oh, maybe I could do it differently here. And start being like, oh, where can I extend my comfortability there is how you would do it. Now, when it comes to code, the fact is you need to learn how to code. But most of the coding is just like basically 4 things. Variable assignment, meaning I can teach you how to code right now, right? Code is basically assigning numbers and texts to something called variable. And variable is basically a way to represent a value, right? You have a value and then you want to like move it around. But then you want to be like, okay, well, X, Y, Z, right? Those are the parameters of like mathematics, right? X plus Y equals, 7 and Y, then X, that kind of stuff, right? So it's like variables are X and Y's, and then you can reuse it later by assigning values to it. So you have variables, you have math that is regarding with the variables, plus, minus, append, all those things, the functions and all that is basically a math or manipulation of the variable. And then you have conditional, which is if, right? That's the part where you go, hey, if this condition is true, so true or false, if things are true or things are false, do this thing or do this instead. That's all that is. And then the last thing is the loop, where you're able to go through every value of like a list of data so that you can manipulate that one at a time without having to go, hey, change A, change B, change C manually. You want to go, okay, well, here's a list, change everything consistently throughout the whole list, right? Those are the 4 main concepts that makes programming. And rest is like using the Lego building blocks to make the computer do what you want it to do. So that's a basic concept, but the real question is, okay, well, that's the concept, that's the puzzle, but how do you program specifically for the language that you're working with, right? You have C, you have GDScript, you have Java, all these things. Well, GDScript, if you go to the introduction, there's a thing called Learn to Code with GDScript, and then this one is made by GDQuest, which is another content creator with a lot of Godot tutorials. That's really good. So you can go there, click on this, and it has this like really nice resource for people who's just learning code and it's just happened to use GDScript as a language of choice. So that's where I would do. That's the starting point. And after that, I don't know if you're taking notes, but after that, I would say ask your questions of like, okay, given my limitation and what I know, what is a genre of game I want to try and make just as an experience? And then search that keyword, being like, how do I make blah, blah, blah? And then follow along, ask questions, expand your knowledge. I'll answer you, Ecclesi, in a bit. That's what I would do. Okay, shield answer. Shield answer is, if you're on YouTube, if you look at my description, I have a 30-day Godot course. It's about $90-something. It's expensive. I think the code Godot 1 might still work if you want to get 50% off. That one is meant for complete beginner without any coding knowledge, where I explain this type of coding concept in a layman term to prep you into thinking about it in this way. So it can be dense, but it's a course that is 4 weeks long and there's 3 lessons per week and you can pace it yourself. But basically from beginning to end, you get to make our first 2D platformer game. And that's like a starting point for you to get familiar with how to code, experimenting with the code. And benefit of that is technically it comes with the Discord community where, you know, when people want to can have one-on-one with me, but you can DM me and then I'll just do that personally with you, schedule that time with you. So those are the 2 things I would say for your answer. Cool Guy says, my advice is to make something and learn as you go. Yes, Game Jam is good. The Emperor says, all right, fair enough. It's just there. Oh, it's just a bunch of jargon. I'm familiar with you and you don't know what you can or can't do. Okay, thanks. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like searching Google search. When you Google search a thing that you don't know about, you describe what it is, right? You could be like, what is the bird with the little thing on the head? And then it might answer being like, oh, you mean the red crown of the bird? And then you go, oh, now I know the word crown and I can use that word to search more specific things, more summarized things. And that's how learning anything works. So let's see. Jeez. XFC says, Ezra, I just found the channel Freaky Dubs. I'm scared. Don't go anywhere. I don't know. So don't tell me this either. Ecclesi says, 6-7 meme from a track rapper. I don't know who, but a track says 6-7 end, but children running this say again and again. I see. Why is my cursor so big? Okay, so when I first released my popular video on YouTube called How to Make Roguelike Deck Builder series, the first video, after the first video, somebody commented being like, hey, I can't see your text or where your mouse is pointing. Can you make them bigger? That's why I'm at 150% text and huge mouse cursor. It's actually, at first it was really hard to get used to, but now when I go back to normal, when I go 100% like this, it feels too tiny now. Like I got too used to big text now, so that's why it's big. Ecclesi says, good night and good luck. You're really interesting development. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Cool Guy says, you can also learn code from web dev since web dev is really easy, then move on to game dev, which is much harder. I think coding learning, you just need to pick a language or a system. I do think that learning from GDScript is a pretty good idea because the thing about coding, if you do it properly, like setting up Java, C, C#, all those things, you need to learn this concept called setting up your development environment. And that's probably why also web dev works better. But even web dev, you need to set up some sort of stack, or you need to understand something about computer in order to get started. Thing I like about using game engines like Godot and their scripting language, or even that's why Python is probably popular, is that there's lack of need to set up the environment before getting to the code. So Godot, you download, you open, you create a scene, attach a script, you can start coding. And so you can focus on learning to code. And then later, when you're done with that, you can learn that, oh, well, actually, how does this code actually work? Well, it's interpreted. What does it mean to be interpreted? Oh, computer, machine learning, machine language, assembly. Oh, environment, different architecture. Like all these things kind of fall in line, I think. So, I don't know. I think it's a good idea to learn through Godot. XFC says, now I ask myself, if Yowie is your power, what are you without? Jesus. All right, I'm gonna stop reading your comment from no one XFC if it starts to detract like that. No hard feelings. Okay, we're chatting a lot today, but it's good. I think we're helping people. I almost feel like whatever I did with like how to learn Godot, I should probably clip that. You know what? I'm gonna how do I remind myself? We're hour and 1 hour marker. I guess I should take note. How do I take note? Notepad. Hopefully there's nothing important in this. Let's see. Note from streams. I'll clip it. Let's say desktop as to dev. What is today? Today's 02/2026. Around our mark. Clip from how to get started if you don't know how to code at all. All right. Since I don't have a type of people that'll clip for me, I have to do this myself. Conic says, what is your advice for people who are knowledgeable with Godot nodes, but not too familiar with design patterns or architecture? Honestly, I'll tell you a truth here. The fact is, okay, this might surprise you. When I first went to Amazon, that was one of my first like professional programming or professional software engineering job as a junior. I went into it without actually knowing all the patterns, design patterns and stuff like that. Or I mean, I heard about it, like, but I never paid attention to it. I think like maybe State Machine was the extent of what I knew. But I learned a lot because, you know, there were people in there who were interested in it and introduced me to it, and then I got exposed to different things. And in fact, it's useful. And sometimes, a lot of times, you are using a lot of the patterns intuitively, right? Because certain things are annoying, and then you come up with the solution. So it's just kind of it's a matter of attaching name to it. But some of the common ones, obviously, there are books, but I think this resource is pretty good. This one is free. And you do need to ask a lot of questions of like, what is the difference? Because like some of these look pretty much the same. So facade, I mean, these are like very much like a service structure thing. And then like a decorator, you know what they are. Like in your professional jobs, you've run across them, but you didn't realize it was like part of a pattern. Abstract factory, yeah, like you've seen these builder pattern. These are patterns. But I think what people are talking about mostly when they talk about programming design patterns, they're talking about behavioral design pattern, I think. Strategy pattern, a visitor, command. So the most common one I think that people start to think, oh, pattern is command and strategy. Observer pattern, you already know, is basically signal, right? Somebody designed the thing about signal. You know, chain of responsibility. So, I mean, you can read these. I actually wanted to make a video on design pattern, but then I was like, you know what? Like, these are so like the usage and hard examples in game development is not exactly clear. Like, it's not, the delineation between different patterns are not very clear. So it's just like, it's best used if you are aware of them and start asking yourself, why would you and why wouldn't you? and then decide. But check out that link. Godot says, an entire book series on just compression algorithm and encoding. Yeah. What is it? Godot says, with programming, you'll find that there are so many rabbit holes that go so deep. There is an entire textbook on just C++ Lambda, and that's just one feature of one language. An entire book series on just compression algorithm and encoding. Compression algorithm is always really fun. I remember when I had to deep dive into PNG documentation, specdoc, to do it. That was really fun to do. I have yet to explain that. I promised people that I was going to do that. XFC says bye. All right, bye, XFC. Thanks for stopping by. All right. So those are some answers. Is that like the absolute best answer I could have given? Probably not, but you know, it's an answer. Godot says, I think design patterns are cool. I think they are cool. Some people came up with like standardized ways to think about things so that they can keep track with things better, worse, more resilient. But you'll realize a lot of these things are sometimes like, oh, that is like obvious move. It's like learning a chess opening after you've been playing chess all along. It's like, yeah, some of these things you've kind of figured out or you've been doing because you learned the pattern, but then you're like, oh, wait, there's like a thought out opening and patterns and path to it that people have, which because the rules of the game hasn't changed. So, all right. God, saving. All right. We're cleaning up. We're not freeing it. We're leaving the connections alone. We have the collection. We said to do. We're going to make the lines here. And so this one needs to be duplicated, this function. I think what I'm going to do here is make a new function to basically almost static function where I would say create lines with connections, and then we'll say connection handler, which will be connection handler, actually handler. Maybe we'll call this connections, like that. And then we're basically copying and pasting this. Boop. Then we're just going to call that with the connections, I think. Yes. We got to make sure we don't do that. We probably want to do con handler. And then this one goes here. Boop, boop. Cluster information connection handler here. I guess I got to do this a little differently here. I want to first make sure I create the connection. So we have connections. A, B, we're making a dash line here. That one doesn't have to be here. We're adding a connection of A, B. And then for this particular connections logic, we have to attach to the dash line that's being created. Yeah, so we don't need this. Like that, I think. Connection, or it's going to be POI cluster info connections. And then this one is going to hand over the connection handler. And connection handler, we're going to go through each of the connections here to create a dash line. We have connections, get all connection, I think. Get, add connection, remove connection, unlock connection, lock connection. Get connection from, get all connections from, get the edges, get the locked edges. Lightup79 says, hi Ezra, is it possible to write Rust code for Godot? I think somebody told me there's some like open source solution for trying to implement that, but it doesn't work very well. Why are you asking about Rust? I guess, what are people using Rust mostly for? I don't know. Godot. Rust support. So officially from the Godot is you can use GDScript or C#. Or, yeah. But look, Godot Rust binding for Godot game engine. So people have worked on projects to make this. I'm not sure how official this is. And I don't know how extended it is. But there are solutions out there. So it seems like it is possible, but I'm not sure. It's like 2 layers, right? One layer is you might have issues where Godot just doesn't do something versus you have another one where it's like, hey, Godot Rust doesn't do something that you wanted to do with Rust. So I don't know. So there's an option there. Should I have given you that link? But it seems like it's there. So light up. Go ahead and use that. Okay, so I'm going to use con handler to say, well, I need to grab the information A and B for each one of them. So what I'm going to do is maybe I need to get all the unique connections. I wonder what the best way to do this is. From the connections, can I get all the unique connections? Let me see if I can do that. So the way I'm doing it, I'm getting all the connections saved. Node to cluster index, that's fine. Connection status. This one, oops. This one is being, there it is. All connection status. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, because that's a pair. So what I'm going to do here is from there, I'm going to say get all connection status, which will have con status. And then the A would be A, which I think is just map node, yes. And then B would be just B. And then we're going to create a dashed line connected to the con handler, like so. And then we don't need to add that. Once all the things are connected, we're going to, boom. All right. So simple enough. Technically, after cleaning up, all I have to do with the loading logic where I did the to do is for, or I don't even need to do that. I just need to go explore mode, something line, create line with connections, and hand over the connections information, right? And then that'll create a dashed line. It'll do all the assignment and signal connecting. Beautiful. All right. Repeatable code, reusable code. We're doing it. OP. Light Up says, thanks, Ezra. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I wish I was a little bit more helpful with some sort of like personal story or personal experience with it. But at this point, all I can do is give you the Google search result, I think. Hopefully that's still more than enough. Okay, I'm going to get some water. Y'all stay put. Thanks for sticking around in this world. That is my stream. I do want to come back to find out what everybody's doing on the weekend. What are you doing on this weekend that you're watching me and vibing with me? What is the purpose of watching me? Reason I want to know is that I want to use that to better fit my stream vibe to get more people. So it'll be helpful for me. All right. I'll see you in a bit. I think my cat noticed that I'm still at home, so I left the door open, so we might have Fig visiting me in a bit. We'll say hi to the cat. I'm getting a little hungry. I thought I had enough food for breakfast, but I guess I should probably cut it at some point. Let's see. ETAR or ETAR education or ETAR reduction, ETA reduction. It seems like it might be ETA reduction. I don't know. I don't know what you're. Okay. Hey, I got it. I eventually got it. ETA reduction says it's ETA reduction. Okay, good. ETA reduction says you just showed up in my recommendations, but I probably won't stick around because I have some work to finish till Monday, and also want to work on my own game a bit. Yeah, that's good. I hope you get a good vibe going and you get to finish your game. We're in a good spot. We're making our games here. Almost done, I think. Light Up says, I'm looking for a new hobby, like maybe game development, but am also learning Rust. Don't know what to build with Rust yet. I see. I mean, you can natively make games with just Rust without relying on the engine too. If you want to make something simple, something fun, that could be fun. Beanman says, where should I start if I have never tried developing, but I want to get into it? Developing or developing game? Two different questions. I already did a full thing. I don't know if YouTube allows for you to rewind. Is there a way for you to jump? If you go around like hour mark to the stream, I talked about it because somebody was asking that question, exact same question. Yeah. So I was talking about developing games in Godot. So short answer is go to Godot engine, documentation, click on it. Look at getting started. Follow accordingly. Depending on your propensity to keep around and reading text, but this is a good exercise to learning how to read technical document in general, and it's pretty simple to follow. It just requires patience. You should be able to make your first game within a day. The shill information or shill answer that I was talking about was that I also have a Godot course, which is 30-day course for people with absolutely no experience in terms of coding, where I teach you how to code / make games, your first game within 30 days. And it comes with 3 times 4. So 12 lessons in there where you're making your first platformer game. So that one costs money. Peach says, good luck, man. What you're building. Right now, I'm trying to get the saving part. So working for exploration. The game, there's a pinned comment for our Steam page. We're ready for wish listing called Through the Shatter. It's a roguelike adventure strategy game where basically it's a adventure summarized. So you're exploring the world through this node graph. Different nodes have different effects, different events. And then you can go to each one of them, and exploring requires provision here, like it uses resources, so resource management. For each of the node, you can search them through these kind of graph and like picking up items and then meeting new NPCs, purchasing upgrades or purchasing items and finding upgrades to make your journey better, to uncover the mysteries and explore. That's the game. Right now, I'm making some adjustments, some final adjustments to the gameplay. Oh my goodness. Cat is here. Light Up says, hi Ezra, with AI doing all the coding these days, I feel it's pointless learning language like Rust or C++. Because AI does all the coding now. Any advice? Well, here's the thing though. So I just said this earlier. I have been doing software engineer in the industry, specifically Amazon and Google. It was my past employment for like 10 plus years. I say more than a decade. And then I stopped doing that right before AI took over. Like when I transitioned fully into content making and game development, within a month, OpenAI first released their chatbot, which was like, sensational to the world, right? And everybody was like on an AI boom. So I had context of working without that. And then just this week, I went back to work. This was my first time in 3 years. And of course, interview process and all that included some AI usage. By the way, I don't use AI personally for my personal projects, but at work I have to. Kind of. It unlocks a lot of things. But even then, even having used all that, the most of the benefit itself isn't in the coding assistance. Like if you're using AI as a purely coding assistant, you're behind, I think. So that is to say, the coding is not the benefit of the AI. Because coding was never difficult. It's like waste of money to rely on AI to like use that money and cost to just coding. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like using big shovel to eat your food. It just is not the tool for it. Like you can do it. It feels like you can shovel a lot of food at the same time, but then like you don't need to shovel a lot of food at the same time, right? It's like, oh my god, look at how much food I can shovel with this, and I'm like, well, that's great. That was never the point, you know. PH5870 says, "Cool AF." Thank you. Well, go check out. go wishlist. Make sure you guys all wishlist pin comment right now because it is very helpful for me. Even if you're not going to play the game or buy the game, at least it'll help me get to the front page of Steam when I join the next fest. PH says, but it tastes better with shovel and dirt. Okay. What is it? Minister of Defense says, what's hattin'? Cattin'? What's good, homie? I'm guessing that's a short for what's happening. Things are going well. We're just chatting. Just good weekend vibe. We're developing. We're petting cats. We're finalizing our game a little bit. I guess I could show you what it looks like in a bit. It's just that I'm in the middle of making critical code changes, which means it's not going to load right now until I finish making this. So let me get through it. But if you want to check out my game, the Steam page is on the pinned comment. Game is not available for you to play, but at least you get to see what it's like. Some of the summaries. Okay. But yeah, that's my answer to you, Light Up. It's not... Coding is coding, you know. If you have follow-up questions, do ask, because good content. Follow-up questions are good content. It's like podcasts with a little bit of vibe in the background. All right, where were we? X1 model, blah blah blah. We assigned a start node here. So starting node assignment is via the type. So we could actually rerun this after the map load here. So let me see if I can do this separately. So we got the generation part of the load, right? We're loading the level, which we're making instances and connections. We already did that. This is a variable initialization, or like func level processing, which is, or process level, I guess. Process level, which will be analyze, process the generated nodes and connections to assign appropriate global variables and settings. Edda says, came to the conclusion we can probably hire a few junior devs for this money, and they will probably be more productive than whatever increase in productivity frontier AI models give to the developers. Still using models that are cheap and lacking behind, though, like Kimi, purely for routine work and boilerplate. Yeah, those are useful. Oh, I missed the whole first sentence. Edda says, recently OpenAI and Anthropic reduced their usage limits drastically, and I've tried calculating how much it would cost for our previous monthly usage per development in my team. Came to the conclusion we can probably hire a few junior devs for this money, and they will probably be more productive than whatever increase in price. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, it will come a time. Well, there comes a point where the real cost of running the AI will exceed hiring real people, and still acknowledging the usefulness of AI. Then to justify the usage of AI, you have to assign bigger tasks to it,
But those bigger tasks, we haven't really figured it out, and it's so expensive. The funny part about it is that we all know. I mean, if you're one who's responsible for financial decisions like that, of hiring people and whatnot, you know it's coming. You know for a fact that the increased cost and reduction of the token counts and all those things. Even with that, the parent company who's supporting these tools, they're not breaking even yet. They're trying, and this is a secret, right? They will go public. They want to go public. OpenAI and Anthropic. They're still a private company. Means their books are actually closed. We don't actually get to see it. Is if the CEO and CFOs lie about it, there's really no way to like confirm / like get them in trouble because they can say whatever they want for the company. But once they go open and become a public company, they have to open their book, and it'll be very clear that it's not a good investment to invest in them, and people won't initial invest as much because the books are available. So the preparation stage for these private companies are always trying to make the book look good and the future of the promise. So they're doing these like increase in price, reduction of usage, blah, blah, blah. People have a threshold. Like, it's useful, but like, you know, it was only useful because, okay, well, if you are getting personal benefit out of it, then maybe those users are okay. But if you're like somebody who's running a company and you're thinking more about like effectiveness and cost efficiency, yeah, there's a threshold. There's absolutely a threshold. Even if you're like an AI fan, if you ask them, it's like, okay, how about $100? How about $1,000? How about $10,000? There is a cutoff cost. There is a cutoff cost for sure. And they need to figure out how to run this cheaper. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Especially with the lifetime of the chips coming to an end. Have you thought about that? All the data center with the graphic card that is running the AI model and running the services, these run hot. Their lifetime is a lot shorter than normal chips right now. Even when like NVIDIA was releasing like 400 or 4000 series, we're talking about like the potential lifetime issues and this heat issue. So, like, I mean, it seems a little weird. It seems a little weird. So, and the scary part is like places like Amazon and all these other places who's making a wrapper around whatever and trying to sell that as a product. They're saying internally, I don't care how much money we're burning through, use the tool. Internal team needs to use a tool. They need to force them to use it because they want to improve it and prove the use cases fast enough before that eventual like proof of concept needs to happen. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's like a bookkeeping nightmare, honestly. Minister of Defense says, what genre is it? I'm calling it roguelike adventure strategy. Light Up says, so is it worth understanding syntax and muscle memory for coding language syntax when AI can do all that? Yes, it is. AI is not guaranteed to be around, especially because AI is run by a company. It's not something that is readily available for anyone and everyone. Problem with AI is that running the model, the service, or whatever inherently requires a lot of processing power, which means I don't know if there is a world where you can run a private node for yourself, like open source, in ways that you can be like, oh, I can, because the models got to where they are because they consume so much data and they created those things. And the generated model, I don't think they're going to ever let go of it, right? Like, why would they? Unless they let go and they say, okay, well, this is available for all the publics, then everybody individually pay for the model, and then use it in their own system. I don't know. It's just not reliable. It's always good to. It's like saying, I've heard this before. The industry engineering, right? i.e., they still need to learn how to pour concrete, by the way, because you need to understand the caveats of how the concrete behaves, what it takes, the materials, and all those things. So you still need to learn how to pour concrete, but then you, as a designer or engineer, you never actually do that during the work. Like, you don't concern yourself doing that work. But it helps to know these things and know how to do it if you need to. Not because you need to do them, but because knowing that information is helpful for managing expectations, helpful for dealing with emergencies, dealing with anyways, whatever. I'm giving more example than needed, so you get the point. So yes, it is worth it to learn the syntax. Flint says, can't wait for your game to release. It looks so fun. Olama lets you run AI locally and it's free and open source. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'll take a look and see how that looks. Because that's when you start to see how much it actually costs when you're running it personally. And think about it, like, if you say, oh, I want to run new things. I want to run an updated model. So those things are coming up. Minister of Defense says, yes, it's worth understanding. You don't want to be depending on AI. I work with devs now who are, and they're not very useful. It's definitely slippery slope. I've seen, and this is where I was like, okay, well, a lot of the young people who are fresh off to college or like they're in their like mid-20s, early 20s. Oh, they're so confident in like, why wouldn't you use a tool that enables it? This is like old man's way. If you're grumpy about it, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, dude, like, it's not about that. It's not like we're not saying let's kind of clamp your expectation because it's not useful. That was never the point. There are a lot of other caveats that are connected to this like reliance on it, where you have to expect changes, and when changes happen, Ecclesi says blah blah blah. All right, fine, I'll explore. Jeez. Thanks for the follow, Light Up. Thanks for the follow, Kazluoxi? No, Kaslua She, maybe. I don't know. You know what? Look, I'm not a hater. I'm not a supporter. I just see the world as unadulterated as I can. That's what I've tried to do. Minister says, local models are super expensive to run at scale, and you need a lot of very specialized expertise. I mean, it makes sense knowing how it works. Did I tell you? This is like third year. Well, anyways, I you know what? I don't have to prove my point anymore. I was gonna feel like I have credibility, I promise. But I guess it doesn't really matter. I don't have to do that. Bonencraft. Bonen. My gosh, I'm fucking blanking out here. Bonencraft says, how to instruct someone on how they should work if you don't understand the process of their work. True. Says, I tried vibe coding an OBS Lua plugin and ended up having to dig through C++ API doc of OBS to figure out what functions to call because the LLM had no clue how to do it right. It says, ha ha ha, yeah. Hepta says, hello, don't say it. Don't say it. I'm trying to keep it a secret. Everybody forget what he said. Hefta says, can you hook me up with an Isengard account? No, I can't because it uses a team fund. I'm going to get into trouble. It literally says, do not use it for personal usage. Hefta says, I miss having one since leaving AWS. Yeah, I know. Hey, Giggles. Giggles says, hi, everyone. Hello. Do I miss? I don't know. It's different, but though, where I am now is very different from where I was before in terms of team and organization. So it's been cool. Vibe is good. But yeah, no, LLM has issues. Sometimes it's good, but then like that's exactly what I'm saying. Like it's just like any other Gen AI. It might be really good, but it's just like any other Gen AI solution where you're like, if you're an expert at the topic, you start to notice things that it can't really do well. Or like the biggest problem that I have with it is that it's so confident. It's like it doesn't know how to say I don't know, right? And it's hard to, how do you make it say I don't know? Or I can't do that? Like that's actually a very hard problem to solve, knowing how these models are built or how it's being used, right? Like contextually, it can't say that. So it's like you have to have a discerning like mind, or you need to know what you're doing, or you need to be able to first, you got to know the information so that you can separate and split the job into a smaller chunk that is not as impactful to enable you. That's why I say like it's useful for people with a lot of experience and knowledge, and it really like is a force multiplier, but one of those are not its ability to code. What is this? Hepta says, have you used Huang TW? What's that? Handy lookup table of similar technology and services help ex-schoolers survive the real. That's so funny. Oh, it's just a dictionary search. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. Hey, look, I've been in 2 different stacks before, so at least I'm used to switching without all these help. Hepta says, so here's a workaround for phone tools. Since you can't see inactive employees, you can still go to sage.amazon and look up people. Hey, I'll show you something. Even though I returned, I still have my color. I didn't know they kept tenure. Like when I was there, they didn't. Returners don't get their new colors. Minister says, I'm also a dev of 25 years and I'm working on my first game. How was the transition for you? It was fun. I think Godot is actually really nice. I am being stubborn by sticking with GT script instead of going to C++. No, C sharp. Because my argument was that I'm helping the community build a easy to approach scripting language by being a victim to its underdevelopment, you know, so that I can be part of its development. But it was good. It was good. It was pretty easy. Game development is very different, though. I mean, if you've done application side of development, then it might feel similar. But a lot of if you're like, I come from like service background, so I've done a lot of service distributed system type of engineering, and it comes with certain like mindset of like, okay, well, you need to do this design pattern, you need to do this, you need to consider this thing and whatnot. Those things don't matter as much because it actually gets in the way. If I feel that in game development, you want to be a little bit looser with your programming pattern a little bit, because unlike service programming or like the official things, it's hard to delineate responsibility because everything needs to know about everything else. Like that's its fundamental problem. Game development has a problem of where based on needs, because game needs can be anything, that any event might need to trigger any reaction. So like you have to be like a little loose with how you what do you call the whole exercise of thinning out dependencies, right? You need to take a lot of discretion with it, which took me a while to get used to. Hepta says, or Minister said, no, I already read that. Hepta was like, you got the gold badge, what? Yeah, apparently you get to keep it. Bonenkraut says, you can also do C++ with GG extension, I think. Yeah, but I heard it's not very well supported, or it's lacking a lot of stuff, which is weird, because isn't Godot made in C++? So Godot is written with C++, but but supported languages C#, the .NET, and the GT script. Hefta says, I was only there for 3 years. Oh no, you didn't get the last year of chunk. The assets, the golden handcuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's whatever. I get it. Bonencross says, from what I understood, you can use GDScript for most stuff and only do C# for performance critical parts of the game. So you can mix it, I guess. Yeah, you can definitely mix it. It's not required for you to stick around with only one language because the script is attached per node. You can cross use them, right? Because each node will handle its own language. I guess I don't know how the reaction works. For example, if I make a global function with GDScript, can I access that in C#? I don't know what that looks like. Hepta says, Salesforce gave me a big signing bonus that cashed me out of RSUs. I'm not going to stick around. It's funny that you're talking about Salesforce today. I guess you're in Seattle then. Somebody just told me, somebody that I know, a younger person that I chatted with before in regards to joining the computer science or engineering industry, is going to a Salesforce, apparently. It's like their first employment. So I was like, oh yeah, Salesforce is pretty good. But I don't know how the culture is there, so I don't know if they're going to have a bad time or not. But we'll see, we'll see. Anyways. Well, Hepta, if you're in town and you're not a creepy person, we should hang. Just Conrad says, you can make the two language interact, but GDScript inside C# is kind of painful. I see. Well, I'll remember not to do that. So here it is. There's information that everybody needs to know. All right, so process level is going to do the start node assignment. We're doing the filtering thing, and then we're saying placing items required on Explorer nodes. Okay, so this one also does it. What is it missing? It's saying the Explorer source is not available. Oh, I see. I guess I should just provide that. I could also just do this and then do this right there. So we're doing that, and then we're going to run on generate for relevant environments. We don't have to do environment generation during the processing. There you go. Cool. And I think I can run the process level function after the load here now. Technically, I guess I am making it so that I do that within the load function. All right, so we're going to process level. That does everything. We're reinitiating everything. What about the post-processing? So I have a function called post-processing after loading the level. So we generate the Explorer level in the journey mode. Visibility gets changed. We do the VFX control. And then we're going to start the game here. Let's see what's in here. We have the reset fog here. So we're going to make sure this doesn't run. I'm going to have to think about this. If the fog of war, you know what? I'm going to do it on generate. So this might not actually work very well. Well, we'll see. We'll do it right here. Keep the fog of war paused, and then we're going to reset it here. The pause should happen in the beginning. So we're not clearing it out. We're going to reset it if it's a completely new run. During the start, we have the Explorer Manager. We just got to make sure all the load is functioning properly here. Very, very first on YouTube says the Claude code is already on the second monitor. Is it? Oh, you mean on mine? I don't use that. C# says, or just Conrad says, C# inside GDScript is fine though, depending on. Do I have to like? Is it a type of place now where we have to show like the second monitor? We have to show everything. You want to see my setup here? Actually, how do I do that? Can I do a second camera? I feel like I should be able to. I've never done this before. But let's see. Now I have to prove myself. But you know what? No shame if you do, right? I guess you get to see my cool stuff. Wait, where did it go? Webcam. Is that gonna work? Is it not connected already? I thought it was. Hello? Deactivate. Is it not? I thought it was connected. Activate. Oh. Okay. I was like, why is it not working? Duh. All right, you get to see my messy room, I think. Hefta says, I want them to lay me off, but here I still am. I'm just gonna... Yo, I mean, honestly, that's the dream. Being laid off is so good after especially like more than 3 years because of the... Oh, there it is. Because of the severance package. Hold on. How do I do this? There it is. You want my keyboard cam? I have to hold on to it like this. This is what my setup looks like, guys. Can you see it? We have the main screen here. Oh, and you can see my Akira figure. Little Akira figures. I ordered a new keyboard so that my desk looks a little cleaner. Yeah, my watch here. And on my second screen is my little OBS, YouTube, and Twitch chat. Ickley says, that's cool. All right, I don't know what I'm going to do with the second camera, though. I feel like there's something useful and interesting that I can do with it. That's why I have it, but... hello? Okay. Oh, no. All right, I'm going to turn it off now. Jeez. My cat's trying to climb here. Let's see. Gosh. So many chats here. Heta says, I hate working at Salesforce. I prefer AWS, but the pay is so much better. Salesforce is better? I guess that's why people do it. Well, base, you mean? Yeah. Amazon is notorious for not giving that much like base because their stock is just way too good. Like they appreciate way too. Like they can just kind of be like, oh yeah, we don't have to pay you because your stock is gonna like triple in 3 years or whatever. I mean, I had to, when I first joined Amazon, this was like pre-split, right? I think since I joined, Amazon split twice, the stocks. And pre-split, when I joined, it was $300 per share. So you can imagine what that's like. But alas, I'm penniless now. I mean, that's why I was able to do 3 years of just full-time development, I'm sure. Let's see. Full-time content making, I mean. Ecclesiastes says, lol. Hepta says, I want to get laid off, please. Yeah. Oh. Can you stop? Hepta says, Costco stock. Woo. Is it good? I don't care. Shady Alien says, cute heart pictures as well. Bring joy when the code does not. Yeah. I have the little heart post-it note covering the error count. Hefta says, when is Seattle Costco stream? What do you mean? I go to Costco and then I stream IRL. That's so funny. I'm sorry I'm distracted, guys. We're just chatting. We're vibing. We're okay with vibing, right? Are you tired of me advertising? I'm going to advertise something real quick. If you're here joining and you like everything that's going on, please wishlist my game. It's on pinned comment. Shady Alien says, I'm just south of Seattle. If you want to watch me stream myself trying to find parking. Wait, you actually do that? That's so funny. There are actually a lot of content makers in Seattle. It's kind of funny. Out of here. Oh my god. Oh. It's trying to. I'm about to sneeze, girl. You need to get out of here. All right. Let me. Oh. I haven't run my game today a single time because I was so stuck on this. Okay. Exploration manager gets reset. The result gets reset. That's good. Player becomes false. Okay. Ah! Oh my god. I'm sorry, everyone. Oh, that is not very chill. Ecclesia said, your cat name is Arui? No. My cat name is Fig. Minister of Defense says, I used to live in Seattle. I used to live in Bellevue. Oh, I see. Well, I'm in Seattle. I'm in Cap Hill specifically. Is that bad? Should I not be saying where I live on the internet? I guess I shouldn't. Well, everything in Seattle. Satellite City. Shady says, move back up here last January. I've never been happier. I love this area. Seattle is nice. It is kind of expensive, but... Ecclesia says, oh, okay. Cat cute. Oh, go get food. Yeah. They ran out because they're food dispensed. JPX says, if you don't want to get doxxed, yeah, it's true. I don't know what it does. Like, I don't have enough people. I do think that the doxing is a problem once I get like 1,000 viewers or whatever concurrently. But there's not enough. I mean, there are a lot of evil people out there, but like within this small community, I think everybody's pretty good vibe. Minister says, if I were a streamer, I would probably drop my location all the time. I mean, okay. I told you this before. I think I shared this story before, but the very first time I posted a YouTube video, within first 2 video, somebody in my apartment was like, hey, did you post that video? I was like, what? It's like, I watched your video. I was like, oh my God. And so we grabbed lunch, but they were in my apartment. we were in the same apartment. But it was kind of funny because the first video I did was like very topical to the industry at the time. So it made sense. Hepta says, I missed the Starbucks Reserve. Yeah, they had to close it because people are like trying to not fight the corporate. Shady says, Cap Hill is a great place. I don't live there, but my husband, I go up there pretty often. Good food. Yeah, there's some interesting food. Still a little too expensive out here. Hepta says, I can't believe that closed down. Yeah. Anyways, let's get back to this. Background color, that's all good. Parchment tween is all good. Populate encounter. This one, I'm not sure if I'm cleaning out the encounters. So let me just take a look at what I do with it. When we are starting, it comes with the encounter information. We're populating the encounter like that. Do we clean the encounters out when we are cleaning it up? That's my real question. Encounter canvas is empty. We make the enemy body. Attempt to move. Move to object POI. That's good. I need to know what happens to the encounters when it's done. Encounter enemy body goes to POI container. I guess I am cleaning everything out from the POI container, huh? I think... Let me see. Hold on. So during cleanup, I made it so that the... Ah, yes, here it is. Okay. So this is what I need to do. If it is map node, we're just removing child. Or whatever, like that. And then afterwards, if the child is enemy body, then we want to make sure that the child is freed. Okay, this is what I was looking for. And then we're going to repopulate. I don't know. Is there anything else I need to do? We'll see. We'll see. Let's run it. It might break, but we'll find out. This is our first run after having made the change. Hepta says, Dick's Burger is disgusting, but so cheap. It's actually, you know, honestly, as far as like cheap burger is concerned, it's not terrible. I mean, the meat tastes is definitely, it depends on what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for a gourmet burger, yeah, obviously. Minister says Capella is a pretty large neighborhood. I think you'd be fine. But I go to all the places that people like to go. But it's okay. I'm sure it's fine. Let's not talk about it anymore. JPX says, has Godot a lot of tools for visual rendering optimization? Does it have a lot of tools for it? They at least have one tool for optimization, which is like, instead of using the tree, you can use what's called a server to manually handle or programmatically handle objects instead of visually or template-wise handle it, which makes the optimization much better. So if you have a lot of concerns for drawing a lot of object, there is at least a known solution for it. But let's see. Yeah. Is that a lot? I don't know. I feel like it's enough. It doesn't have to be more than that. JPX says, like degrading texture in the distance. Oh, you mean like for like, what is it called? There's a, oh, the saving is broken. I gotta debug this. I don't actually know, JPX. I have to say, I gotta be honest. I haven't really looked into it to know if there is a lot of solution for that or not. But I haven't heard anyone complain about it, if that makes sense. Their 3D engine and 3D part, I'm sure it needs to still catch up to other engines, but from the looks of other people who's been using it, it sounds like they have all the standard stuff. So like handling out of vision objects or like less detail on further object. There's a term for it. I forgot what the language for that was. LOD, right? It's called LOD, right? I think they do LOD, but I might be making this up. Minister of Defense says, do you do your own art or do you commission? I like doing my own art. I'm a pixel artist myself, which is another opportunity for advertisement. I'm going to turn off the green screen for a little bit. Actually, you know what? This is a great opportunity to turn on my webcam again, I guess. Boop. All right. So I have a pixel art prints here. You see this? This is a pixel art. Yeah. I'm trying to make an art account, or I'm trying to get a booth, like a artist alley booth for those like events like PAX, anime convention. So I've been working on some pixel art stuff, and 3 pieces that I've worked on so far that I need to finish this one. So I've been working on this one for a while, but I haven't done it yet. I've done the one that you just saw is this one. And then I have this other one. So the concept of the art is like trying to invoke the feeling of like retro fantasy adventure or like D&D or that kind of feeling of exploring lores and discovering things and being curious through the form of art to create that kind of vibe. So that's what I've been doing. So I like doing art. I like doing my own pixel art. I do sometimes use friends and like other acquaintances if I feel like I don't want to focus on that part of the work. It does help a lot to be like, hey, can you make this thing? And then I just don't focus on it. But the problem with being an artist myself is that I have such a strong creative direction that I can't really accept things too readily. But yeah. All right. The error says invalid access to the key. Oh, right. Because this doesn't exist. During the save, we did fog. Why is it calling the save when it's... Oh, because it just finished. We're doing self. I thought the fog should exist. Interesting. Yeah, right here. Does it get removed? When is it reset? During the exploration. Yeah. Where else? Yeah, I don't know why that was null. Explore mode is not null. The fog is texture rect. And then let's try to get it. It says invalid access to property or key texture on an object that was null instance. So the fog was null instance here. Oh, that makes sense. I'm a silly goose. Yeah. Yeah, that's wrong. Fog texture rect is %fog. Yeah. I gotta grab it through this, I think. I'm a silly person. I gotta do it like that. All right, let's try that again. So all I'm trying to test is that once the map gets randomly generated, if I revisit that node, I want everything that I've explored to be still there, only with the items that used to be there regenerated. But the discovery and like the fog of war clear and everything needs to stay the same. Because I think I'm trying to, it's so hard that remembering information being helpful to making the exploration easier, I think is a fair game. So, all right, so here's the game. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search, which uses provision. And then this is a tutorial message, which, I mean, obviously I'm going to have to redo. Minister of Defense says, a dev who can do art is such a huge advantage. It is good to be able to do some sort of additional creativity thing. Music is a big one. I know how to think music. Hey, thanks for the raid. Madeline E. Patience or Madeline Patience. Thanks for the raid, everyone. Welcome, raiders. Let me do a shout out here. I hope you had a great stream. Feel free to share your stream and what you've done today and all. And meanwhile, I can talk about what I'm doing here. We are getting close to launching our game Through the Shatter. Launching our demo of the game. Originally, we're targeting June Next Fest, but it turns out I was told that I need more wish lists before doing the Next Fest. So I'm gonna try to release the demo, do the graphic update, and final polishing within the next month. And then I'm gonna do some marketing push like short form videos, my devlog, and etc. etc. So we're actually going for October. But if you look at my pinned comment, the Steam page is still available, so I would appreciate any kind of wish list and interest. The genre of the game is roguelike adventure / strategy. Metaline says, thanks. We were working on a native app, but yeah, let's see your project. Do you have a Steam page? Yeah, I just made it. It's actually my very first Steam page. It's on the pinned comment. You can see it. It's called Through the Shatter. The idea of the game is basically like adventure distilled, summarized. So you explore the world through the graph, and each node does like different unique stuff. And within each node, traveling and exploring cost provision. So it's like resource management a little bit. And then you get to find out, discover new NPCs, shop for your builds, make upgrades, and explore different dangers and world. So it's like a simple looking game, but I'm trying to do like visually, experientially simple, but with all the fun and it's like adventure in poetic form is the goal, I think. Psionic says, UI looks cool. I like geometric structures. It reminds me of amplituhedron. I'm not familiar with that, but I do like the geometric form too. It says, it's giving obscure game I randomly downloaded on my PC in 90s. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. I mean, that is the vibe I'm trying to go for. And then I was just also showing off that we do pixel arts. So here's some pixel art here. If you're interested in art, these are some of the prints that I'm trying to make. So, because recently I went to like Anime Con and then I went to Artist Alley. I love collecting art. And then I was like, you know what? I want to make art booth. An art booth to sell art on my side hobby. So I've been doing some of these things. So if you're interested in pixel art, color theory, and all that, that's something I do. Outside of that, reason I have any following, I think, besides my vibe, if you like my vibe, thank you. Besides that, oh, hold on, I I should remember to follow. Did I follow you already? I did follow you. Okay, cool. Besides all that is my very first video was hey, I got laid off from Google and I am happy about it. Basically, the idea is that I was in big tech. So I was a software engineer in Amazon and Google previously. I've been doing game development, content making for past 3 years. And the news is that just recently, this week, in fact, was my first week back at a big tech company, unfortunately. It's funny because I even made a video being like, why I would never go back to big tech. But, you know, when the back calls, I answer. Unfortunately, I wish, I mean, it's whatever. I know now what I can do in terms of content making while working. So it was a good period of time that I got to do this full time and about to release a game. So it's good times here. Marilyn says, Chad, thanks. Oh, it means so much to me. Marilyn says, I'm an illustrator too. Oh, that's fun. I love that. Do you have Blue Sky? I should follow you on Blue Sky. I'm sure I can find it. I'll do that after. Baka says, satisfied with the printing quality format. Actually, it came out really nicely. It has like a little gloss, like a photo print, but I think that adds like I don't know, it adds a vibe to it, especially when it's hitting the print during like the golden hour. Oh, it feels so nice. Hey, you do need to correct me, by the way. Is it Metalin or Metaline? And says, I'll find you and we can connect. Gotta go eat. I'm starving, but I'm lurking. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the raid once again. Have fun with your food. All right. The saving is breaking. Let's see. This is not null. Source node is not null. This, it says invalid. Oh. Yeah, why is this an array? Should be just connection handler. All right, let's do that again. Cyanic says, have you played the mobile game Monument Valley? The one with Escher-like environment, so beautiful. No, but it sounds good. I like the title, Monument Valley. A lot of my inspiration comes from like indie games like Slay the Spire, Into the Breach, FTL type of thing. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love that. I can never get myself to play. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Look at this. It looks like a really fun like exploration / puzzle platform. Not platform, but like puzzle game. Overwhelmingly positive. This is really good. Oh, I'm surprised that it only got 1,800 comments or reviews. I would think that this would do so well. I don't know. I can't tell how well it did, given that it has all these rewards. Look at how successful this is. This must be really successful. Good times, good times. Yeah, it looks good. I should probably keep it in my list of things to do. Matt Lynn. Okay, so it's Madeline. Or Mads, Maddie. All right, maybe I'll learn to call you Mads or Maddie once I get to know you. I feel weird just calling you Mads or Maddie straight up, though. Unless that's just what you prefer to be called with your friends, I guess, or acquaintances. And it is what it is. I'm not going to... Yeah, anyways. I'm going to assume that you went to eat anyways. All right, so let me just test it. Right now, our goal is that... So we have this graph generation that happens when you're exploring. Before, it was generating every single time you visit. I'm trying to make it so that the generation is locked. Once it gets generated, it stays that way. So later when I try to re-explore, the shape and the progress I made in terms of exploration stays the same. Because the problem I saw with my own gameplay was that it's really difficult because it's like, I'm so busy surviving that I'm not doing the exploration part. So I'm trying to make it so that like some of the exploration can progress slowly. Thanks for the follow, both Madeline and Psionic. Metal says, like, who are you? You can't call me Mads. Yeah, no, honestly. All right, so exploring between the overworld, cost provision you can see. And if you are out of provision, you will use your health. Searching requires extra provision as well. I'm going in, everyone. I'm going to get my item. So you can see there's Fog of War. Hopefully no spikes here. It's a little scary. Yep, definitely spikes. And then I found the little guy. His name is Sprouty. Well, no gender. Oh, Metal says, oh my god, thank you. I actually hate when people assume. Oh, yeah. I can't do that. Assuming makes, the people's, whatever, the rhyme, I think. Assuming makes you ASS out of you, or something like that. All right, we're going to buy a little item. I like the boots, so I think I'm going to buy the boots. Though the scope is really good because you get to see the adjacent node. But I'm going to buy the boots here. This is working. I'm going to go to the forest because forest has a lot of provision. Let's search in there. Mikuri says, hey, Az, can't stay for too long. Were you able to check out what I sent on Discord? You know what? I briefly looked at it. I just never got to respond. So let me do that right now, okay? But thank you. Thank you for sharing everything. No, I appreciate it. You found this on Twitter. Let's take a look. It looked cool. I wasn't sure how I was going to use it. It says, my Steam Capsule Composer tool now supports image. Oh, you get to make a fancy Steam capsule with it. Capsule? Why does it feel weird coming out of my mouth? I feel like I'm saying it right, but it's like, it feels uncomfortable. Oh, you get to make the little capsule art for Steam, and it has all the different sizing options for it. So you don't have to do what I did. Okay, this is really useful. I think it is really cool. Though I don't know where I can find the tool because it says there's nothing here. I guess I have to log in. I got rid of my X account, so I don't know how I'm going to get this, but if I can find it, that'd be cool. It doesn't even have a name on it. Seems really useful. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Oh no! I died because the bear killed me. Forgot that the forest has a bear. Everyone, you gotta watch out for the bears mauling at you. A Shady Endless says, you can tell me Jacob even though that's nothing like my username. I dislike my usernames on Twitch, but I am too lazy to change it, I see. Well, I'll call you Jacob. Well, it's going to take me a while to remember that you are Jacob, but, I won't hold it against you if you say, every time I say Shady, you go, it's Jacob. And I go, okay, Jacob. All right. Maker says, to make Steam images easier when adding them to... Yeah, no. I just went through that pain. It was crazy. The amount of images that you need to procure for just a Steam page, my goodness. I ran out of patience while doing that. Duke says, why you decided to build your game in public? Why you decide to build your game in public? I don't know. When I went full-time content making, I went into it thinking that I want to make games, so I wanted to do it. But just making game in silence, has the thought of like, whatever. I mean, like, I feel like I wanted to make something of it. And I know for a fact that if I just released a game out of the blue, like, how am I going to reach people? So my original thought was that I'm doing some sort of like marketing type of situation by collecting and building a community first, so that when I finally do release the game, I have already people that I can talk to that, is interested in what I'm doing. That's part of the reason why I'm doing it publicly. Nothing special. But I understand the idea of like there are some people that has a fear of like people stealing their ideas. Honestly, that's not going to happen. I mean, sometimes it does. We talked about it in the beginning of the stream, our earlier days, but unlikely. I'm going to go to the mountain here, and then I'm going to jump over here. So let's search there. I still need to test if all the generation stays the same, so we'll figure that out. Mikuri says, unsure why you couldn't see the link to it. I sent it to you. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Let me see. Maybe I did. And I just skipped it. Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. Appreciate it. Always Mikuri coming up with the most useful tools in the recent days. Mikuri is my personal researcher. But yeah, nothing wrong with developing in public. It's for the clout, kind of. Also, marketing. Also, I thought maybe I could generate ad revenue on top of everything, so that it's like I'm not just doing it with like pure grit and determination only, but rather also having some sort of like backup strategy. So yeah, that's what I would say. All right, we got into the tunnel here. Do I use it? Yes, I'm gonna go over here. You see a humming brass machine half swallowed by the void. A dead engineer is slumped over the control panel. Behind the panels of the machine, you see a chunk of crystal fragment. The logs on the panel are frantic. The engineer was trying to use a raw shard to forge a permanent tether back to the core. But the energy was too chaotic. The machine is overheating, but the refined crystal inside could be useful. Okay. What should we do? We can gain supply, or I assume that this is using provision to gain upgrade, or using heart to gain upgrade. I think I'm going to use my provision. Oh, good. I got a good roll here. Healthy diet is whenever I heal, I get a provision. Forager is +2 provision when I arrive at a forest. Sightseer, I need to get rid of this. This is so bad. 2 or more gives me provision. I'm going to do healthy diet. Jacob says, Shady also works fine. Haha, I mostly lurk anyway. Doing startup contracting at the moment and doing back and forth planning sessions with Claude, so I had time to say hi. Oh yeah, no problem. You know, honestly, we do chat. It's okay. And infrequent chat is okay. Jupio says, copying his idea right now. Referring this entire VOD to ChatGPT for code generation. Yes. Heck yeah. That at least proves my idea is good. This is way too far. There's no way I'm making that. Duke says, nah, I have fear of pressure and I hate showing my work when it's still in the early stages. I get it. That's kind of perfectionist flaw in some sense. As you get older, I think you do get used to the fact that like perfection is a fleeting goal to chase. And as soon as you learn to accept imperfection as beautiful, you become free from the burden of your own judgment. And that's a big lesson to learn. It takes a while. Oh, I found a campfire. That's good. But that's all I can say about that. Does that encourage you to be not perfect and show your work? Probably not. But I think, let's see. I think there will come a day where that will make sense to you. All right. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to use rest, which heals me fully with 1 provision, which is like super effective. Oh my gosh. Did you just see that? I didn't use any provision because I have the healthy diet. This is broken. So healthy diet gives me provision every time I heal. So when I rest, I use provision to heal all my health. So when I healed, it gave me a provision. So rest is like free. Oh, let's go good. Okay, so I gotta go back to search and see if the fog of war is still there and see if the generation has changed. And see if all the berries and stuff comes back out. Okay, almost. It was there, but then the fog reset just now. Which is what I'm not trying to do. Also, all the nodes are, oh, I didn't add them. That makes sense. Okay. I think I can hot load this. Let me try to make that change. So when I was loading the level, I assigned it, but I didn't add it as a child. So I got to do those. Vince Knight says, making a game is hard and takes a long time. What keeps you coming back to it? I do like the enjoyment of small incremental satisfaction of seeing progress. I mean, that's what I like about a lot of things. And also doing art, doing anything else, you know, anything is kind of difficult when the final picture is so far away. I come back to it because I don't know. For me, I just go for the next step. Sometimes it can feel grueling, but it's like, oh, this next thing. And that gets me to keep going without breaking pace. It is difficult, however, when you have to take a break because either you're busy or life happens, or you're just stepping away for a little bit. And when you're trying to come back, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to come back because there's like a pressure of like getting to sit down. But then if you do it enough, if you force yourself to do it enough, your body remembers that it's just momentary. Like, because oftentimes once you sit down to do the work and you get started, within like 5 to 10 minutes, you feel normal. You feel no anticipation or anxiety of doing the work. You're just doing the work. And it's actually kind of enjoyable, especially when you're vibing with music and chat and all that. So that's it sucks to say, but a lot of it is just getting used to it. I mean, in the most caring way I say this, right? I'm not saying get good and like get good noob, but I'm like, in some sense, it's get good. Godot, hey, welcome back. Jacob says, I think that same viewpoint extrapolates to programming engineering in general. For me, it's a little dopamine hits and near endless challenges you have to solve. It tickles the brain. Yeah, it does. I think a lot of people do agree with that, and a lot of people have the ability to keep going once they sit down. And I think this is like a huge ADHD problem too. Thanks for the hydrate, McGree. Was I sounding a little dry? The thing is, for people with some sort of like attention issues or focus issues, once they get started, they can't help but focus deeply. But then once they get distracted infinitely. And then the anxiety of getting back into it is hard. And that's where I was describing the whole like thought of, it's easy to keep going, but once you stop, it's hard to do it again. It's like, I don't know if you've ever gotten a tattoo. I never did, but this is kind of something that I've heard. When you're getting poked, it hurts, but then you can kind of endure it. But the worst part is when they stop and then they're about to put it back on. Like the anticipation of the starting of the pain makes it a lot harder, makes you tense up. But then like if you're in the moment of pain, it's not as bad, right? It's that anticipation. But then the thing you need to remember is that once you get over it, cold plunge, whatever, you know you'll be fine. And only way for you and your body and your brain to remember that you will be fine is by pushing yourself to the things that are scary often enough to remember naturally. Duke on YouTube says, I don't want potential players to interpret my game wrong and have this bad first impression. So I just try to build my vision in shadows, just do a couple of play tests with friends and family. You know, that's an artist's pain. I get it. Artist's pain is painful. And, you know, there's different philosophy. It goes with any form of art or product is that you can, like, you make an experience, you make a decision to communicate certain experience, right? And you do your best. I mean, that's your design, because the design and storytelling is like, for example, if I say, I want to communicate the loss of losing your pet and what it means to miss them and what it means to, I'm not saying this is what I do. I'm saying this as an example. What it means to take care of them and be attached to them. And you can make that story, and that's what story writing is all about. And you can do that to communicate that feeling to other people who haven't had that experience so that you share that new feeling. Or if they have had that experience, it resonates with them and they can like commiserate with you. That's kind of like human condition, I think. But if it doesn't happen, let's say they get different message from your work and that bothers you, there's something to be said about that. I think it's okay that it bothers you, but I think there's like a room for like certain medium you have to expect people to get their own messages, and that's okay. Preem HOK says, or Preem Hawk says, I'm just starting game dev. Any idea on how to go about it? So if you go to around hour mark of my stream, I talk about it, which I need to clip. But basically, if you have absolutely no experience, especially for someone who's using Godot engine, myself, go Google search Godot engine documentation, go click on it and look at getting started. This would be the best place to start for free. And then I said as well before, learn in ways where you get new questions in your head and find answers to your question. Narrow down your questions. Have questions, big questions, narrow down your big questions into smaller questions and find answers to those. That's how you expand your knowledge, I think. That's what I would say. All right, so the error was the fog was resetting. I also was not adding the nodes back in, so I got to do that, which is for each node, I got to add it to the POI container as child, the node. And then additionally, the fog was getting reset. So on the start, I want to make sure I don't run this. Thanks for the follow, Rems. Appreciate it. Let's see. So in two places, I'm clearing it on cleanup as well. I mean, that makes sense that I would do that. I'll do that. Clean up here. We will reset the fog over here anyways. I think we're good. Potentially. Let's do that. Okay, I'm going to try to revisit. Hey, Digital. Digital Elliot says, can I ask a question? Of course. Of course, friend. Ask away. Rem says, yo, you stream on Twitch too? Yeah. Wait, hold on. Oh, do you know me from YouTube? or do I remember you as someone else? Or are you my personal acquaintance that's like, oh my gosh, I know you? Oh, I see. Rem says, I only know you from YouTube. I see. So you see my YouTube videos, but you never knew I was streaming. Wow, what a coincidence. Yeah, I'm here. I've been exposed. Digital says, oh no, I was just narrowing down my question. Oh. No, that's not what I mean. All right, everyone, I have to remind you again. I know you're tired of hearing this, but this is kind of like the beggar developer. Oh, pauper developer, game dev here. Please, I'm begging you for a wish list. Yeah, that's what this is. I need you guys to stop what you're doing. Go click on my pinned comment on both YouTube and Twitch chat and wish list the game right now. It's not a demand, it's a request. I'm not saying this with like, oh, you do it where else, right? I'm doing it nicely, I think. Cool Guy says, what is your game about? It looks cool. Thanks. It's basically in concept, well, okay, genre-wise, I'm calling it roguelike adventure strategy. The core messaging or core theme is it's a poetic form of experience of exploring. So what it's like to explore, the feeling and the joy that you discover, the joy of discovery, joy of finding different story, playing RPG and all those things. How can I expose you to those experiences in as simplest form possible without it being super actiony? I mean, that's the main concept of it, but Cool Guy says, oh no, I already read that. Primo K says, Thanks for replying to my previous question. That helps a lot. Do you think my knowledge in math and physics will be helpful in my game dev journey? And I have started learning Python 4. Well, depending on how far into it you are, the math definitely helps. Physics, maybe, depending on if you are making things that are more simulation related. So to give you a context, I was double major physics and computer science. I actually dropped out my physics degree because I got a job already, and I was like, physics is not going to help me. And I was on my, I only had 1 credit hour left on my physics degree. So a lot of people actually like make fun of me for this. Because the 1 credit hour that I needed to do was called the senior thesis class, which is basically you just join, you do one research, and then you just watch other people do their research. But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to drop out and do my thing. So having that context, I'm saying like I needed to know a lot of like different type of math and stuff like that. Funnily enough, linear math and discrete math applies heavily on programming, especially in game programming. So it is useful. It's not completely useless. At least it gives you the concept of like, what do you call, the desire to search the root cause of things. So Duke says, the more you F around, the more you find out, basically. Godot says, oh, hell yeah, I'll wish list. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just got bared. A bear just mauled me and I was just chilling there. Can't do that again. All right, this is a perfect candidate to retry because I want to do a deeper exploration. So I'm going to exit, which I did. And then I'm going to search again. Hopefully those 3 nodes are already revealed and then the generation is exactly the same. Digital says charity begins at home. Exactly. All right, generations is the same. And the nodes are all there. And then the bears are still there too. I'm also realizing the food you already picked up are gone instead of it still being there. Is that a feature? I feel like it's making re-exploration more difficult. So I'm not sure if that's good that I did that, but we'll see. Hey, thanks for a raid. Davy's Art Corner. Hello, artists. All right, I'll follow you so that we can have future raid targets. Welcome. We're making games out here as we do. Davey says, yo, hey, welcome. Yeah, we're just kind of finalizing our game a little bit. Gosh, so many spikes. Finalizing our game, trying to get the demo ready so I can release this, get ready for some marketing push, and make a lot of money selling games. Yeah? Heck yeah. Ooh, rest side. I love it. All right. I have 2 moves. 1, 2, 3. It's going to reset anyway, so I'm going to just go get out of here right now. But I know now that the generation is still there. Davey says, I got to head out soon, but I'll stay here with the lurk. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for being here. Either way. I really want to go there, but I don't know if the 5 is enough. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try... I really need to go to the market. So hopefully there's some good nodes here. So I'll try to explore this, tunnel over here, and then see what's around here. Okay? All right. Search. Psionic says, made a Steam account so I could wishlist. Oh, heck yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Support small creators, you know? Support small creators. We need your attention. You know how they say don't feed the animals? No, feed the animals. I'm the animal. Oh my god, this was such a bad roll. Oof. Do I tunnel? I think I do tunnel, because I don't think I can get here with 2. Yeah, I'm tunneling. All right, let's explore. Karatio says, bit of a random question, but have you fiddled with external C code in Godot? I was thinking about re-implementing some internal Godot 3.5 stuff, like the resource loaders, but couldn't find good docs. I haven't done that. I haven't fiddled around, but I heard there are extensions that allow you to do at least C++. I'm not sure with C though. I know natively Godot supports C#, and then if you go to there, no, I knew I was risking it. I was hoping that there would be a potion early on. All right, I'm gonna have to do it. At least all the features are working. I have to make a decision on if I want to reset the resources on revisit, as opposed to it being gone permanently. I think. Yeah. Yes. Anyways, but yeah, answering all that, I don't know. Maybe Digital knows. Digital, do you know answer to that question, Iliad? Says this person is looking at re-implementing some internal Godot 3.5 stuff, like resource loader, but couldn't find it. If you go to their repository on GitHub, you should be able to edit that yourself and make the build. It should be available because it's open source. It's not written in C. It's written in C++, but if you know C, C++ is not a problem. It's just more object-oriented. Digital Elias says, I just started playing Sol Sesto. Never heard that, actually. What is that? The quality level of it's incredible. I have only used Godot 4, so I never have. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I see. What is Sol Sesto? Oh, this looks pretty cool. I think I've seen this. I've seen some trailers on this. This looks fun. Yeah, it's also like this art style is very much like, what do you call, distinctive. Yeah, this looks really fun actually. A lot's going on. I would never be able to design this visually. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to make this kind of like beautiful mess. I need to learn how to do that. I kind of wanted to low-key go to a design school to get a graphic design degree, because like not for like jobs, but for the sake of like for both content making and game making. I feel like learning some like fundamental design information that designer professionals know might be helpful. Karatio says, was trying to avoid C++, but did I just say the plus 3 times? The issue is 3.5 resource loader are fundamentally broken, and instead of fixing them, they were just removed in Godot 4. I see. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I wish I was a little bit more helpful. But yeah, no problem. Sometimes I'm sure you'll find somebody who knows the answer. Psionic says, I got a graphic design degree. Now I'm back in school getting a data analyst. And we're reverse doing it. I don't know. I mean, I really like all these people. So like, for example, there are, what's his name? Mark from the channel GMTK. I love his channel's like simple graphical design and aesthetics. Oh my gosh, this is a terrible gen. Oh my goodness, I should have gotten out as soon as I hit the spikes. I'm gonna die. This is over. Oh, I found a script. Yay. It didn't even show up. It didn't even work. Oh well. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm gonna do it. I mean, this is already done. Well, I'll get a frying pan here. Okay, I gotta fix that. Also, I gotta do this so that I can't buy multiple of the same items. Oh, this game is so hard. Hold on. The script didn't work. The picking up of the hint didn't fill up the item slot, so I gotta figure that out. Duke says, isn't the character supposed to stop walking when reaching a node? I thought it was like, so I didn't have the idle animation made, so I just made it just keep walking until I do the, what do you call, visual update. I think I'm going to keep it that way. I'm getting hungry though. I know I just got raided, so it feels a little weird to raid out, but I think it's time. Oh my goodness. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. I think I'm going to raid out here. I'm going to remember everyone again. Thanks, Medellin, for raiding, and Medellin's viewers. If you enjoyed this channel, of course, don't forget to follow and sub or whatever people do these days. And another thing is that, as I said before, I am just going back to full-time job, which means my stream schedule is a little bit on the, what do you call, limbo. Gosh. So I make announcements on Discord. So join my Discord to get notification when I go live. I usually try to be up ahead and say, hey, this is the time I'm going to go, etc., etc. Thanks for wish listing. It's time to go. Let's see. Who's live right now? Oh, Big Boy's here. We got Hypnotic. We haven't been Hypnotic. I guess we never hit Hypnotic on weekends. So that could be fun. Big Boy is here too. We haven't seen Big Boy in a while. Whatever. We'll go to Hypnotic. Might as well. Baka says, good night. Thanks. Cyanic says, probably don't need a degree, in my opinion. Doing Behance case studies and Adobe tutorials is just as valuable as for developing visual style. Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. I just want something where I can get my visual language improved. So I have more arsenal. Like, I know how to draw. I know how to do art. I know how to do some sort of composition, but I want to be better. More like aesthetically, like, interesting. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye. And then YouTube, you get to see me a little bit more until this raid goes through. Okay. There you are.